Good morning, everyone. It's April 28th, 2024. As you can see from my title, I wanted to say that in our rush to do things right and make sure that our society is turning around in the way it should be, we're also failing. And I can see this over the years where the failures have been, looking back on it now. And as people say, it's usually always in hindsight that you see things, and that's certainly what I'm seeing here too. But it was an article. It was on the news there, about British Columbia. It was on the national news last night, and they were talking about how a year ago, British Columbia had put up an experiment, and they were going to allow a little legalization of some of the harder drugs and that. And it was only a certain amount that you were going to be allowed to carry. So this was a pilot project. I don't know if they really stressed this at the beginning or not. But a year later, they found out that this is not working out very well. And they're finding paraphernalia all over the parks. Everything else seems to have upped the problem. And now they're retracting it, and they want to reverse the law and go back to it's illegal to have these drugs again. And of course, everybody's been the advocates not for the homeless and for certainly those addicted. They think this is a horrible situation that shouldn't be, that we shouldn't be retracting this, that we should be giving out more and more. Well, how do you give out more and more when we're seeing problems with our safe injection sites? And where we're having overdoses in there, and even though they're trying to find out if the pills are safe or not. And the ones that we're trying to literally help those with addictions. We're really, in the end, enabling the dealers, the drug dealers, in this situation, so that they can go out and they can make huge profits off all these poor addicted people. Yes, they've got an addiction problem. Yes, they're sick up to a point, but we're not helping the situation. We shouldn't be putting them in situations, the addiction problem and those who are addicted, into situations where they're not going to be able to get off the drugs. It's going to be very difficult for them. And it's so easy just to go and get a hit, even when we legalize the pot. Of course, the dealers has come out with the pot even cheaper again. And this is, of course, we had this round with the smoking tobacco as well, illegal tobacco cigarettes that we were getting too. So we should have learned some lessons, I believe, from there. So I'm quite concerned about where this is headed for certain, because I can see it was just announced yesterday, so I can see this is going to be a big battle in British Columbia now to try and pull us back again. So before the rest of us think, okay, this is a great idea to go ahead and do, perhaps we should really take a good look at what's happening in BC right now before we make any major decisions on what we're going to do. Because this is always the thing, even with alcohol. You don't want to enable the person who's an alcoholic either. And by giving them money, or you're a relative, or you're in the family, well, I won't notice that hidden bottle that's behind the cabinet kind of thing and kind of ignore the problem. We can't ignore the problem. But I'm seeing other problems coming up now, like in Ontario here, they're just raising the speed limits again on the highways from 100 kilometers to 110 kilometers. And then I'm hearing from the police, well, there's so many accidents on the road. Is it due to speed? Partially, I would say it was due to speed. Since the legalization of pot, we've been having more collisions and more trouble on the roads for certain. So there's a lot of things that are combining together, and I think we need some statistics as how many people are getting caught, say, for being under the influence of alcohol, or how many people, can they break it down, how many people are under the influence of drugs. And then by keep legalizing it, means it's more and more people are going to think, okay, I can just take the drug and go and drive, and you've got no senses, and your reflexes are not going to be there to hit the brakes if you have to. You're not going to be able to think as clearly if someone or an animal jumps out in front of the car. So I think we really need to take a step back, and before we go further on some of our actions, and take a good look at this, because I know even years ago, oh, of course, the community. We want input from the community, but anytime the community puts input in, they don't want to listen. The experts do not want to listen to us. And a good example of this, I'm going back to the 90s, when the community was saying, it's a bad idea to put the needle boxes in. And of course they were put in front of the clinics and doctors' offices and even on the side of the road. Well, back then we at least used to get statistics on how many needles actually ended up getting into the needle boxes. Now we don't hear anything about the needle boxes. We certainly hear about the needle hunters because they're having to go around picking up all these needles. So there's a lot of things that we really need to think about before we go jumping in with both feet and things. And I really caution people on this because I don't want to see people being addicted. It's just horrible to see people that look like skeletons walking around, are jumping out, are agitated. Our poor emergency services here are just overworked trying to keep up with it, and it's not slowing down. So yes, part of the problem is definitely going to be heavy enforcement. I can see that coming for certain, but that's only part of the problem. And even our counselor with the new police station coming down here said that's only part of the problem. We have to solve the rest of the problems. And like I said before, all these problems that we have today are layer upon layer, and they're compounded layer on layer. So we have to go through those layers, and all these nonprofit organizations and that are helping the addictions and people need to really step up and listen to what we're saying in the community. We don't hate these people. We hate their behavior, and these organizations have to find a way to help us curb these behaviors that are antisocial and not good in our community, that are disrupting our communities. And certainly our communities are disruptive in the fact that this is not a good example for our children to have to walk through needles. And I've talked about this before. You know, what do they see? Is this are we normalizing it? Well, we can't just normalize it. If we have people falling down on the streets, who are our future leaders going to be? Are they going to be flat in their face in the pavement, trying to I got to pass this bill. Excuse me, just a minute. I'm passed out, but can I write on the side of the sidewalk? Oh, just give me the paper. I'll write it. We'll pass the bill. No problem. I hate to see that come about either. I just wonder where our future is going. And so this is where I'm just going to leave it today. And I just thought it would be a good question for people to think about. For people, like, where are we going for the future? What steps do we need to take? But let's be careful in the steps we take. So that's it for today, everyone. And be safe. Take care. Have a great day. And we'll talk again soon. And bye-bye.